Alright, welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm going to give you guys an idea of what we're looking at here with our Medford. You see there's our knife in question. This is the case it comes in. It's a pretty decent looking case. It's a hard, not hard, but a pretty durable feeling foam. It pinches the knife in there pretty good. Comes with this warranty information. I'm going to give you guys a look at this so that you can pause it and read any and all. I do want to point out some of the things that he says in here, you know, just to kind of give you guys an idea. Let me find here. Don't learn to sharpen your new Medford life, your new Medford knife. Minimize, avoid actions like prying. So number 2, we're going to look at number 2. Minimize or avoid actions like prying, twisting, or any kind of hammering or batoning for longest life. Of course, emergencies trump all this care. So still leads me to believe that he's not going to uphold your warranty if you hammer it into a tree or an emergency says you need to stab someone. I'm going to go ahead and hold this here. It is covering up some private information on the back with some other stuff, but just so you guys can see, it is the Proof Strike S45VN steel with Tum Tonto, whatever he's calling that. Black handle, black spring, which you can't see the spring. NA hardware, which he said there wasn't going to be any exposed hardware, and there's only one screw. And a standard clip. We'll go ahead and show you the front of that. Certificate of creation and authenticity. It says lifetime warranty on there. Just to be completely clear with you guys, I paid for this knife in November of 2022 with the knowledge that it was a pre-order on a prototype that he was making. We are all kind of led to believe that he was already in production and finished with the R&D, but you saw the manufacture date on that, July 10th of 2024, and I did receive the knife at the end of July. I also wanted to note that after the test, the knife does lock up in the outward position, but I can wiggle this back and forth and get the lockup to break free. Also, with it in the locked up position, and you retract the blade, it now has an issue with retraction. See the tip just poked out of there? So something inside of here failed. If you were needing to use this in self-defense and you stab somebody and you hit them in the shoulder blade, this knife would fail. The lockup would fail. This blade would retract just like that the first time you hit somebody, and then you're out your weapon. You have nothing else to defend yourself with. Yeah, sure, you can slam it back forward. Same thing's going to happen again as soon as you hit them with something. You're losing your lockup. And this isn't anything to do with the trigger. Like, I can keep my hand away from the trigger and still make the lockup function in the same manner. And what it's telling me before I open the knife, you guys have probably seen Microtex before, and being that this body bends out right here, I'm guessing there's a paw of some sort right here that springs over and captures the bottom part of the blade. That is not capturing the way it should. And if you felt the Microtech, you know that if the blade stops right there and you don't have any room to pull this out and gain more of that footing from that little paw that's in here, then you're going to have that same lockup issue that we're having right now. And hence why you can hammer a Microtech through a tree. That thing would have gone all the way into the tree. I guarantee you, if I had this on me, this would have gone all the way to where it sat on the body if I hammered it all the way into that tree. Getting it out's a different story. But the way the lockup works on these, you have a whole boatload of frictional force, or whatever you want to call it. It's directly below the bottom square piece of this blade. It doesn't just catch the edge down here in the body. It sits completely underneath it. This one I can feel and tell already it does not. So give me a moment. I'm going to take this apart and show you guys what we're looking at on the inside. We'll have a first look together. All right, now I'm going to be very careful with this because it is out of battery and I don't want to cut myself. Greg does sell a proprietary piece of hardware, I guess, that he makes to open these, but you don't need them. If you guys have ever seen these tamper-proof sets that they sell, like at Harbor Freight, I think this is like $7, $8 at Harbor Freight. It's the largest split flat blade that sits here normally. I'm going to show you. This will sit, get the blade closed. This will sit kind of catty corner like that. And then you can twist this, if I can get some purchase on it. You can twist this, and that will turn the bit. I want to try to not lose any of these as I do this, because that would not be fun. So kind of short purchase or short capture on that screw. Not very long. Can't really see that all that great, but there's only like 2 threads on there. Literally 2 threads. There's some goop in there too. I don't know what that's from. Drop the clip real quick. A little more of an up close inspection at this. It's not thread lock. It's not thread lock. Excuse my fingers, they are dirty because there is oil on this and I just finished working on a car. This is the first time I've taken this out. And he probably machined this himself. It just does not look very clean. We have high definition here, the video. So hopefully you guys can see all these. That was a little piece of metal that was in there. It's on my finger right now, and part of it's on my thumb. No, on my index finger. Yeah, that's a little chunk of metal that was in there. Wonder if he just didn't deburr this stuff properly. Or what? Looks like the same thing in here. I don't know if that's just an undercut that he made, like really nasty after the threads, or if he didn't disengage the thread machine quick enough. Anyway, move away from the pivot. One thing that I didn't really care for too much was the fact that the lasering wasn't centered on a clip. I mean, you should be fixturing this, and you should be fixturing it in the same place every time. So how do you get that far off center? Anyway, moving forward, these should slide in some way, shape, form, or fashion. I'll try to give you guys a good look, same look that I'm getting. A little bit of oil in there, just making sure it doesn't have any discoloration to it. All right. Let's see how this works. Okay, so it's a slide up, which means it's probably like a tongue and groove up here. See that bit of a flared angle? So it probably just sits into that part of the chassis. Let's turn it upside down and pull the lid off of it. Huh. That looks awfully similar to something we're used to seeing, huh? I'm fairly certain I remember Greg saying that it's going to be unlike any other out the front out there. There goes the button. Tell me this doesn't look Chinesium as all hell. That gunk was in there from the factory, and I have time-stamped pictures to prove it. But yeah, for a guy that talks about Chinese knives the way he does, it's a very rudimentary and simple design on a button. This is one of the easiest things to design on these knives and make your own. Anyway, moving forward, same slay style that we see in everyone else's knife. Just had a ball fall out. Let's see if I can't show you guys that. Not sure where that went, but we will find it. We will find of it. Put it where it will go away. Same style chassis that we're used to seeing with everybody else. Looks like it probably comes apart with fasteners, or I don't know. These pieces are probably put into this center section, and then the spring is attached after, so that you can say there's one mechanism in there. Technically is one mechanism, it's just you made it harder on yourself to do the machine work on this, just to get around some, I'm guessing, patent infringement. Anyway, you guys got a good look at the chassis. Get an idea how that spring action works, exactly like Microtech. Not a whole lot different here, but I can tell you're just looking at some locking areas, some lockup areas. This is where the screw actually went onto that body. And then let us get the blade out. Let's see if we can't investigate this lockup. So there's the little paw we talked about. You see how it's like half the size of the one that's in the Microtech? Like Microtech and Heretic's paws are almost twice as long, if not twice as long as that. And you can see it moving right there. But when the blade comes all the way out, like that's the lockup it's sitting on. That's the paw that it pushes past whenever you just barely move it. So we're about to take the blade out and we're going to see exactly how much surface area that's sitting on. And it doesn't look like it's a hell of a lot. We can see where that goes in and where it's inevitably going to hit that paw. A very rounded edge right there. That's not very good for retention. That's probably what changed. I don't know. Looks like both of these edges have the same miter on them or the same chamfer on them. This may very well just be a flaw in the design of this lockup mechanism. I don't know if I can get you guys' eyes down in there. Hold on. Let me get a light out. So we can look down in there a little bit better. There was a spring that came off. I'm guessing that was on the bottom of the button as well, probably with that little roller guy that we saw. Let's shed some light on the inside of this chassis. Let's see what some of the intricate little detail that they were able to put in there, if any. Alright, so you can kind of see in there, if I just turn this a little bit, you can see the edge of that paw actually sits over on this side of the chassis. Like it's not even engaging with the blade. Like half of that thing is sitting to where it can't even engage with the blade. That's not good. The spring on it kind of leaves a little bit. That is a bent piece of steel as a spring, which is not completely ideal. But I guess when you're trying to get around patent stuff, you may have to do that. I don't know. Anyway. Look at the amount of purchase that you get on that paw. Get the light. Come on, light. There we go. Let's get it focused. So you can see the entire width of that channel is the width of the blade. So only half, if only half of your blade is capturing that locking mechanism. And it's not as chunky as the ones that we're used to seeing inside of Microtechs and Heretics. It just doesn't hold the same candle. Nonetheless, we've gotten to see that we kind of understand now. You only use half of it to lock up your big chunky blade, and it's not going to work very well. I'm a little curious as to what's happening here. This is probably some of the attempt at zero blade play with where that lands in the channel. What just fell? What is this? Oh, that's not good. Maybe we have found our problem. That was right here on the bottom of the blade. I remember seeing that down here. I was going to that next. It's kind of hard to get it back where it was. It was kind of smushed on there in that piece of grease moments ago. I saw that. You can go back in the video and you can see it stuck there. That just fell off as I was manipulating the blade. I wonder from where that came. So that's a serial number 5 on it. Those look like they used to be Allen head screws. What do you guys think? Tapered Allen head screws have just been rounded off, tightening on these little wedges that go on the back. Pretty sure that's what they are. But yeah, to me, that's their attempt at wedging it between the frame to prevent blade play. Let's skip to the next adventure and figuring out where this little bad boy came from. Focus, you. Thank you. Where? Interesting. Let's put you back where we can find you. I'm wondering if we chipped part of that off as we were tapping into the tree. I don't know how I'm going to get that out of there. Give me just one moment. Let me find some tweezers. Alright, welcome back. I got both of the paws out. You can see both of them here. Neither one of them looked damaged. All I really did was take a paper clip, stick this down in here, and push up on the bottom of the paw, and it came right out. Same thing with the bottom. Just went straight through this little hole right here. Got right underneath where that little paw goes. And get you some light. Right underneath where that little paw goes, and boop, boop, boop. Just pop her up and out of there. I don't see that same type of metal in this part of the chassis. This is aluminum. The piece that broke off is clearly steel. So we are going to go back to a couple of other parts and see if we can't find something that maybe broke off. It's not really looking like it. These are all different thicknesses. They don't have any break marks on them. There's no signs that anything sheared off or broke off on there. It makes me wonder if that was sitting in the bottom part of the chassis, or the frame, scales, whatever you want to call them, like down at the bottom, down in meow. And then when they put the knife together, it just sat there because it had grease and stuff on it from assembly or whatever you. I don't know. But to me, that still should not stop this from locking when it's open in that full position. I found something new. The blade doesn't lock up down here. The blade locks up right here on this little foot. And you can tell once you slide this in here that sticks out. Remember we talked about this paw only goes halfway into the chassis. Doesn't go all the way to the back. Like we saw that. You can see it right there. Kind of, sort of. So as you slide this in, I'm just going to put my hands and my fingers all over the blade. Just didn't realize I just did that. Anyway, as you slide this in, these two little doodads right here, it's this one that it locks up on. And it's right on the edge. Right on the edge of this. Now, it's the same situation here. Like you can see, if I can get it to focus for you. See how it's got a rounded edge right there? Like that should not be chamfered. Look at how straight cut that is. Hold on. It's just odd that every other edge on this thing is straight cut. Straight cut. You got a little tiny bit of a chamfer up there on that one. But look at this edge. First off, it's recessed. It's recessed in. There's a lip right here. So it's missing that much more of that lockup. And then on top of that, you can see the rounded edge is shining back at you. So that little bitty baby paw grabs right there on that little rounded edge. And you can see that little spot right there that moved a little bit right at the end of my nail. That moved. You can see the steel's not in the same condition it was before. That's from me tapping into a tree. This bottom, this face that my nail is sitting on that's rounded up is what I did with the hammer. This lip over here on this entire side that's chamfered over, that was done by hand or by a machine. Please forgive my hands. I've been working on cars. My niece and them have some issues with theirs and I need to get it worked on today. Anyway, just wanted to add that little tidbit. That is where the lockup occurs. So there probably is some adjustment that can be made to this. It might be able to flip and use this side as the lockup. Basically turn it 180 degrees. Or rotate it 270. Or rotate it 180 rather. Anyway, we're going to attempt some things. We'll see what happens. We got to figure out if we can even get these out. Because I don't know that those are coming out. Like, they're pretty damn boogered up. I might have to drive something in there to get those back out of there. So, I'll keep you posted. But, anyway, you guys leave your opinions. I want to hear them. I want to hear what your thoughts are on supposedly just being able to pull the engine out of it and put the engine back in it. Well, this is the same engine that everybody else has. It's the same concept. Honestly, yours is 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, where everyone else's is one long chassis with a spring, that's 2 parts, and then this sleigh, 3 parts. So yours technically has more parts that can fail in it than other makers do. Not to mention the fact that we've got 2 stripped Allen head screws in there that hold on what look to be counterweights. They do add a lot of weight because they are steel. It's the same steel as the blade. They've milled a recess in there for them, which is more machine work when you could have just milled them in there to begin with. I don't know. It just kind of baffles me. It looks like he's taking steps he didn't need to take, and then the knife doesn't even fucking lock up. Doesn't even freaking lock up in the first place. So, anyway, our mystery piece of steel, wherever it fell on my desk, here. Good purchase. Our mystery piece of steel has yet to have been home found, however you want to say it. I don't know. I haven't found any little pieces of metal in any of my other knives. Now let me know what you think. 1,000K subscriber giveaway still live. Got a couple of cool things we can give away. So y'all let me know what you think about this bad boy. And I don't know, go spend $600 on one if you want. Highly doubt you will, but you never know. Y'all have a good day. Thank you again for watching.